Nate and I got a late start. We both forgot to turn off our GPS trackers during the night, so they were dead. We left them plugged in while we did our resupplies. Mine was simple. I just needed to shop out of the back of the Traverse. I gave Nate the option to grab anything he wanted from my bins, but he wanted to check out the local market first. Dawson drove us up to the Soda Springs General Store. I relaxed outside, drinking a Diet Coke on the porch while Nate shopped. When we got back to the ski ranch, we still had to wait on the charging tracker, so Dawson agreed to drop the rest of the guys off at the store. I should note that Skriegel arrived while Dawson and I were having breakfast. I was getting antsy. I felt like the day was flying by while we could be on the trail. Skriegel, Pisa, Stitches, and Lotto convinced Dawson to stay at the store while they shopped instead of just dropping them off. I called to find out what was taking so long, and the next thing I know, they were all back. Since Dawson was taking us to the trailhead, he could drop off everyone else that was ready. Skriegel had already had breakfast, a shower, resupplied, and was ready to go. Pisa jumped in the car too. The climb up from Highway 40 was pretty steep. We immediately ran into groups of climbers taking advantage of the local rock formations. And of course, there was snow, but it didn't last long because we had to immediately go back down to Highway 80. Highway 80 is a major thoroughfare from San Francisco to Truckee and points east. Throughout the day, we kept leapfrogging each other. Skriegel and Nate were at the end of the second Highway 80 tunnel, for instance. I met them again at the Sierra Club cabin that had a fancy outhouse. At one point during the day, I ran into the log man heading south. He hiked the AT the year before and was hiking the PCT this year to raise funds for the Wounded Warrior Project and other programs benefiting veterans. He's an Air Force vet who served in Iraq. He's called Logman because he carries a giant log that people who donate get to put their name on. Due to the late start, we only got 14 miles. Finding a good spot to camp at that night was tricky. The snow just didn't seem to quit. Finally, we found a snow-free meadow at the bottom of the valley. The ground was really soggy, and it got down below freezing. We were in snow most of the next day, but at one point we walked through a dry spot that was warm, so I did the snowball trick to cool down. Here's a spot where the stream used to run down the middle of the trail and created a long, straight snow bridge. Crossing Pass Creek, we entered into a campground. We hung out at this road, hoping someone would offer us trail magic. No luck, but we had some nice conversations. We navigated a lot of snow-covered forest floor. That's frustrating and slow going. We made up for the speed with a long day. In the end, I had a 12-and-a-half-hour day and managed to hike 25 miles. I was supposed to meet Julie in Sierra City the next day at 9 a.m., so I had no reason to go all the way to Highway 49. I stopped at a lovely spot next to Hay Press Creek and actually had a fire. Nate wasn't going to stay in Sierra City the next day, so he hiked all the way to the highway to maximize his town time the next day. I had a casual 2-mile stroll to Highway 49 the next morning. Julie was still a long ways off, so I walked 1.5 miles to town. I got a humorously large breakfast burrito in the Sierra Country store they called a really big burrito. As I was about to eat, I discovered Nate and Skriegel were on the side of the building in the general store's dining area. I hung out there while I waited for Julie. Ate as much as I could and packed it away just as Julie arrived. I took a shower in the Sierra City public bathroom and changed into my town clothes that Julie brought. We went back to the general store for free Wi-Fi. Julie got to meet Skriegel and Nate. It was the 4th of July. She told me about the local patriotic activities she'd researched. A town nearby, Downeyville, had a parade at noon. It ended with something called fireless fireworks. Just a mile away, the Sierra Pines Resort was going to have an Independence Day music festival that evening. It was tough finding parking in Downeyville, but we managed to reach the parade route in time. At the end of the parade, giant rolls of bubble wrap were unrolled behind the last parade entry. Then the audience was encouraged to walk on the unrolled bubble wrap. It made quite a racket and sounded like a fireworks finale. Thus we found out what fireless fireworks were. We walked around town afterwards. On display was a machine that makes boreholes. As noted in previous videos, I've been seeing boreholes all along the trail. When we got back to Sierra City, we were able to check in at the old Sierra City Hotel. The building had a lot of history. It used to be called the Capitol Hotel during the gold rush. The owner at the time figured if he called it the Capitol Hotel, the state legislature would have no choice but to declare Sierra City the state capital. After relaxing all day, we headed down to the music festival. It was a great way to end the day. Trail stop checklist. Soda Springs, check. Sierra City, check. Addendum. I missed an important bit of the story last video. When Nate and I reached Barker Pass around 11 a.m. on the third day, we got cell reception. So of course, I called Julie to check in. She couldn't talk. Her mother had just passed away 3 minutes earlier. I bring it up because she was sad during our visit, but Sierra City was a great distraction.